Hello, imagine this. Right now, as you're watching this video, there are over 8 billion people on Earth. That's 8 billion stories, 8 billion voices, and get this, more than half of them, about 4.2 billion, are plugged into the internet. With a single tap, they can chat with someone across the globe, order a pizza, or binge watch videos like this one. Instant connection, anywhere, anytime. But here's the kicker. Deep in the wild heart of South America, there are people, entire tribes, who have never even heard of a smartphone, let alone Wi-Fi. They don't know about skyscrapers, cars, or even the concept of a modern world. They're living a life so different from ours, it is almost like they're on another planet. So, how is this possible in 2025? How can a world so wired, so intertwined, still have pockets of humanity completely untouched by it all? Welcome to Ask Away, the show where we dive into the wildest questions about our world and uncover the answers you didn't know you needed. And today, we're peeling back the curtain on one of humanity's greatest mysteries, the isolated tribes of the Amazon rainforest. If you're new here, hit that red subscribe button below and ring the bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Let us start with the big picture. Our planet's population is a staggering 8 billion strong and growing every day. Of those, 4.2 billion are online, sharing memes, streaming music, and keeping the digital world buzzing. That's more than half the globe connected in ways our ancestors couldn't have dreamed of. Think about it. Right now, someone in Tokyo could be video calling a friend in New York while you're here with me, exploring this story. It's incredible, right? But here's where it gets mind-blowing. Despite all this tech, there are still tribes, real, living communities, who have zero clue about any of it. No internet, no phones, no idea that billions of us are out here living a totally different reality. Most of these groups are tucked away in South America, specifically the Amazon rainforest. But they're not alone. There are a few others scattered across places like the Congo in Africa and the Andaman Islands in the Indian Ocean. Still, South America, that's the hotspot. About 97% of the world's isolated tribes call this continent home. Now, you might be wondering, why there? Why not Europe, Asia, or North America? Well, North America used to have isolated tribes centuries ago, but global connectivity and colonization changed that. Europe's been too crowded and developed for too long. Asia's got its own dense populations and sprawling cities. But South America, it's a different beast. And the Amazon? That's the key to this whole mystery. So, stick with me because we're about to unpack this step by step. Why are these tribes still out there? How do they survive? And why haven't we brought them into our world? Or should we even try? Let's zoom in on the Amazon rainforest, the beating green heart of South America. This isn't just a forest. It's a colossal wilderness spanning 6.7 million square kilometers. To put that in perspective, that's 7 times the size of Egypt, or roughly the size of Australia minus a chunk. It's massive, and yet, despite all that space, only about 20 million people live there. Why so empty? Because the Amazon isn't your average backyard. It's a fortress of nature, dense, wild, and untamed. Picture this. Towering trees so thick they blot out the sun, tangled vines twisting like a maze, rivers snaking through the undergrowth, and a cacophony of wildlife from jaguars to piranhas. But for isolated tribes, this is not a challenge. It's a paradise. The Amazon hands them everything they need on a silver platter: food, water, shelter. Let's break it down. First up, food. The Amazon rainforest is the most biodiverse place on Earth. We're talking thousands of plant species. Fruits like acai and guava growing wild, roots like manioc ready to be dug up, and a buffet of fish, birds, and game. These tribes don't need supermarkets. They've got nature's pantry right outside their door. Anthropologists estimate there are over 400 edible plant species alone in the Amazon, and that's not even counting the animals. Next, water. This is a rainforest, after all. It rains like clockwork, dumping about 80 inches a year in some spots. That's enough to keep rivers flowing, streams bubbling, and every thirsty soul hydrated. Plus, the humidity keeps things cool in a region hugging the equator. where temperatures could otherwise soar past 90 degrees. It's a natural air conditioner and water supply rolled into one. And shelter? The forest itself is their architect. Those towering trees, some reaching 200 feet high, provide wood, leaves, and vines to build homes. The thick canopy shields them from rain and sun, while the sheer density of the jungle hides them from prying eyes. It's like the Amazon built a custom-made sanctuary just for them. But here's the real magic. The Amazon isn't just a home, it's a shield. This place is tough to crack. For centuries, explorers, settlers, even modern adventurers have struggled to push through its walls of greenery. There are no highways slicing through it, no train tracks crisscrossing its rivers. In fact, get this, there's only one bridge spanning the entire Amazon River, a river that's 4,000 miles long. To get in or out, you're looking at boats, planes, or a grueling trek through mud and mosquitoes. Good luck with that. So, for these tribes, the Amazon isn't just a provider, it's a protector. It's kept them safe from the outside world for thousands of years. But that's only half the story. Because it's not just nature keeping them isolated. They have chosen it too. And that's where things get really interesting. Why would anyone choose to stay cut off when the rest of us are so connected? Let's dive deeper. Now you might think, okay, the Amazon's a perfect hideout, but surely someone's tried to reach these tribes, right? Maybe they just don't know we're out here. Fair point. But history tells a different tale, one that's equal parts tragic and eye-opening. Let's rewind to 1492. Christopher Columbus sets sail, lands in the Americas, and kicks off the age of European exploration. Or, let's be real, invasion. The New World wasn't new to the millions of indigenous people already living there, including the ancestors of today's isolated tribes. But to the Europeans, it was a gold mine, literally and figuratively. They wanted land, resources, power, and the tribes, they were in the way. Picture this scene. A group of tribespeople in what's now Brazil spots a strange wooden ship pulling up to shore. Out step men with pale skin, metal armor, and weapons they've never seen. Swords, guns, cannons. These newcomers don't speak their language, don't look like them, don't act like them. To the tribes, it is like aliens just landed. Some are curious. Who are these people? Others are terrified. What do they want? The Europeans, meanwhile, see the tribes as a means to an end. They try to trade, to communicate, hoping to map the land and tap its riches, gold, timber, spices. At first, it's not all-out war. There's some bartering, some cautious exchanges. But then, something invisible and far deadlier than swords creeps in. Here's the brutal truth. Europeans weren't just bringing tools and ambition. They were carrying germs. Living in crowded cities with pigs, cows, and chickens, they'd been exposed to diseases like smallpox, measles, and influenza for generations. Over time, their immune systems adapted. But the tribes? They'd never seen these bugs before. Their bodies had no defenses. One handshake, one shared meal, one breath too close, and it was over. Diseases tore through indigenous communities like wildfire. Entire villages collapsed in weeks. Historians estimate that within 150 years of Columbus's arrival, 95% of the America's indigenous population, tens of millions, were gone. Wiped out by germs they couldn't fight and wars they couldn't win. The survivors, they didn't stick around to negotiate. They fled, deep into the Amazon, where the forest swallowed them whole. It wasn't just about survival anymore, it was about escape. They'd seen what contact meant, and they wanted no part of it. Fast forward to today, and you'd think we'd have learned our lesson. But no, history keeps repeating itself, just with different players. The tribes still face outsiders, only now it's not explorers with ships. It's loggers with chainsaws, miners with drills, and traffickers with guns. Let's talk about 2006. Deep in the Ecuadorian Amazon, illegal loggers stumble into territory belonging to the Tajiri and Tarumanan tribes, two groups so isolated, we barely know their languages. These loggers aren't there to chat. They're there to strip the forest bare. The tribes fight back, defending their home. The clash leaves 30 tribal members and 10 loggers dead. Blood spilled over trees, and that's not a one-off. Every day, isolated tribes dodge threats from criminal gangs, loggers, Oil barons, gold diggers, drug runners, all exploiting the Amazon's remoteness to hide their dirty work. These outsiders don't care who's in their way. They'll kill to protect their profits. For the tribes, every rustle in the bushes could be a death sentence, so they retreat further, deeper. They've learned the hard way. The outside world isn't safe. It's not curiosity driving them away, it's survival. Okay, so history's a mess, and modern greed's a nightmare. But what about us, well-meaning folks who just want to help? Why don't we reach out, share our tech, our medicine, our knowledge? Surely that'd be better than leaving them in the dark, right? Not so fast. Governments like Brazil and Peru have stepped in with a radical idea: no contact. They've made it law to leave these tribes alone. No researchers, no missionaries, no tourists. The goal? Protect them from the disasters of the past and the present, but not everyone's on board. Activists argue, hey, these people deserve healthcare, education, a chance at modern life. Keeping them isolated is like locking them in a time capsule. It's a fair point, until you dig deeper. Imagine you're one of these tribespeople. Your whole world is the forest, every tree, every river, every bird song. It's home. Then someone shows up with a smartphone and says, "Come live in a city, work a 9 to 5, pay bills." Would you jump at that? Probably not. Their life isn't backward, it's theirs. They're not sitting around wishing for Netflix. They're thriving in a way we can barely understand. Plus, there's the disease factor again. Even today, a simple cold could wipe out a tribe with no immunity. And culturally, the gap's too wide. They go from hunting with bows to navigating traffic lights overnight. It's not progress. It's chaos. And here's the kicker. These tribes aren't just surviving. They're saving the planet. The Amazon's a carbon sink, sucking up CO2 and keeping climate change in check. By living there, protecting it from loggers and miners, they're doing us all a favor. Force them out, and we lose more than their culture. We lose the forest. So maybe contact isn't about denying them something. Maybe it's about respecting their choice and ours. All right, we've covered a lot. 8 billion people, a wired world, and tribes who have said no thanks to it all. From the Amazon's wild embrace to history's hard lessons, it's clear why they're still out there, living on their terms. Human curiosity is a beautiful thing. It's why we explore, why we ask questions, why you're here watching this. But when it comes to isolated tribes, maybe the best way to honor that curiosity is to step back. They're not museum exhibits or puzzles to solve. They're people, with rights to privacy, safety, and a life they have chosen. So, what do you think? Should we leave them be, or is there a way to connect without harm? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. That's it for today's Ask Away. If you made it this far, you're a legend. Give this video a big thumbs up, hit subscribe if you haven't, and let us keep exploring the world together. See you in the next one.